Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Big East Rewind. I am Chuck Everson, your host from Villanova University, and my co-host, as always, the good doctor, Dr. Sonny Sparrow. How are you, Sonny?
Chuck, I'm doing great. Pirates are in the house today,
Yep,
and they're
big
for
pirate day
those of
today.
everybody watching, they can see the gear, right?
Right.
But those of you listening, just know that we got a potential challenge for Chuck with the Villanova stuff. Maybe.
Yep, there you go. So today, Sonny, we have a pirate from the 1990-91 season. So we're getting out of the 80s and we're going into the 90s and beyond because we bridge the gap between the
Yep.
old school Big East and current day. So we're creeping up towards the 2000s as we go forward doing the show. And we were just talking about it off air. It's been 3 years. Can you believe that?
No.
I
Simple answer. No.
know. I know. It's gone by so quick. We've had, oh gosh, probably 105 or 6 shows now this is for us. And you know,
And he has a connection to the modern day Big
well,
East.
yeah, we're gonna talk about that. That's right. Don't steal my thunder,
But
Stunny.
we
My
are truly
Hey, man, you're
bridging. But my
stealing my
point, I'm
thunder.
emphasizing, we're truly bridging.
That's right. So without any further ado, our guest today, we just said, is a Seton Hall Pirate. He's a Big East champion, Sonny, and in 1991, he was the biggest Big East tournament MVP. Made two unbelievable buzzer beaters to make him the MVP as Seton Hall won the Big East tournament that year against the mighty Georgetown Hoyas. From far Rockaway, Queens, Oliver Taylor is our guest today from Seton Hall. How are you, Ollie?
I'm pretty good. I appreciate y'all having me.
We appreciate you coming on, pal. I appreciate that. I mean, I know everybody's busy this time of year. It's getting to be close to March Madness, and everybody's got their basketball fix in and watching their alma maters play and everything like that. So we appreciate you taking time out to be with us. So,
Thank you.
hey, so fun fact about Ollie Taylor, Sonny.
Yep.
Oliver's nephew is Stefan Castle from UConn, the UConn phenom freshman. Talk about your relationship with your nephew, and I tell you what, Ollie, he's some player. I mean, he's got to be in the front runner for Big East Freshman of the Year. He has to be. I mean, the kid's playing. He's outrageous, and he's a
no.
terrific kid on top of it.
Oh yeah, a great kid. But just to watch him from a little kid, to see him change his game to where he at today, it just amazes me. His father, Stefan Castle, who went to the University of Wake Forest,
Right.
so he actually played with Tim Duncan. And just to watch his father guide him to become the player he is today on a day-to-day basis, not just by being a fan, by being a father and let him do the mistakes that we have made mistakes as basketball players, to watch him learn to do it and then watch him set goals for himself and accomplish them, like trying to be the McDonald All-American. He used to look at the rankings and they used to project him as being 90-something. And me watching him like a sophomore in high school, a freshman, even 8th grade, his IQ was always high.
Right.
So I knew, I was told his father, he's special. But the thing about him that got us, really looking at differently was he was a point guard. He was like a small kid and just started growing. So he wanted to be in 6'6", 6'5",
right,
and had point guard skills. And the good thing that me and his father was talking about, when he was a freshman in high school, his coach wound up playing him at power forward center, coming off the bench, where he learned how to rebound. And then when they realized his skill level, they macerated him basically into a point guard his sophomore, junior, senior year. And he just took off from that point on.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you, he kind of took a different path, right? I mean, was he a guy, he wasn't one of those AAU kids, was he?
No, what his father did with him was when he moved down to Georgia, because they live in Georgia. His father moved out, and my younger brother came, and my bigger brother came, and I came, and my cousin came. And then his son wanted to play baseball first. And then after baseball, he fell in love with basketball. And his father used to put a basketball court, do drills with him.
Right.
And then when he got to a point, a lot of people wanted to just stack their teams up with players, just names, so nobody else get them. His father decided to get involved and coach AAU himself.
Okay.
Where he created a team, and put his son against all of these great players in high school who people were projecting as being high. And that's how he worked his way up. Nothing was given to him. I could show you that. Everything that he's getting now, he earned. You know what I'm saying? He was a kid that nobody knew.
Yeah.
And then he just put himself in a position to sit down there and watch himself grow as an athlete and as a player. Very unselfish, very team oriented. Like I told his father when he's a sophomore year in high school was, I don't care what school he goes to in the country. They're gonna love playing with him.
Oh yeah. I mean, Sonny and I were at the Big East Media Day this year, and we got to talk to a lot of the UConn guys, including Coach Hurley, and everybody was raving about the kid, you know. And then on top of that, and the fact that he was such a great kid, that's all that everybody kept talking about. And he seems to have checked off all the boxes already, don't you think, Ali? I mean, he looks like he could be a pretty high draft pick. I know he's scheduled pretty high if he comes out for next year, right?
Yes, correct. And the good thing about that is that that's not something he's worried about. You know, all he's concerned with is about winning. He don't care about what the predictions are or his family. That's the last thing that we're concerned with. We want him to be at the stage that he is a kid and just go through the process of getting better every day. Well, everything else will come by itself. And that's the way he
doing a good job because they're doing a lot of winning. That's for sure. You know,
yeah.
I think this year's team is better than last year's UConn team. I mean, that's, you know, I think
scary.
That is scary because they lost 4 or 5 really good players. And they're here they are, and they're right back where they were. You know, actually they're ahead of where they were last year.
They were talking about.
I can tell y'all a funny story with that because he signed with UConn his junior year in high school. He didn't wait till they win the national championship.
Okay.
He already signed with them. He already committed to them his junior year in high school. And I used to tell his father, my goal was try to get him to Seton Hall, of course. And I remember, I don't know what I did this. I actually went on, I think Facebook or something, and I actually put, he's my nephew, boom, boom, boom. And somebody quoted on me and somebody said, well, why didn't you get him to come to Seton Hall? I said, I tried. But he decided to pick the school that he wanted to go to. His father had no influence on it. I had no influence. He wanted to go where anything happens to him. We know that he picked the school. And that's how his father trained him to be. And that's where he wanted to go. And it actually worked out for him perfect.
Well, good luck to him and the Huskies the rest of the way, man. That's he's been fun to watch. I'll say that. I mean,
but I did tell him during his sophomore year, junior and senior year, that Seton Hall will beat Connecticut. We beat them every year, once a year.
Well, listen, it wouldn't hurt our feelings at all, Ali, if you put a good word in for us and get the young man out on the show. That would be fantastic. We would love to talk to him in person. I know.
That would be good, but most likely that would be something he probably won't do probably until after the season.
I know.
Because he's so committed to his team.
Oh, we already know. We've been through that. We've been through the route already from media day on. It's interesting how this all goes. You know, we're always used to being on the other side of this, Ali, like you. You know, when you're
correct.
You know, correct. I never knew how much work it was just to get somebody to come on. I thought you make a phone call, you talk to their people, and boom, it happens. But that's not the way it works, you know.
Yeah.
So we just try any little crack in the armor, we try to, you know, get through. You know, that's how we do it. So anyway, so let's talk about you and where you came from, and you know your career and what's going on with you. So you're a Queens guy from Far Rockaway. What was it like growing up in Far Rockaway?
But always, at least what they say now, Far Rockaway, America, we're the 6th borough. We try to consider ourselves. We're so far out in the ocean that a lot of people don't go out to Far Rockaway. A train, last stop. But I would say growing up in Far Rockaway, we had a lot of talent. There's a lot of kids in my neighborhood who were very good players. Some of them just didn't get the opportunity. Some of them was more dictated to the streets than to working on their game. And for me, I was one of the kids that just loved the game of basketball, just played it. And then after my sophomore year in high school, I started seeing things change with myself. That I knew I could probably do something special with what I was doing. You know, plus my family was behind me at that point.
Yep. And there was a lot of good, I mean, your years coming out of that was Kenny Anderson's time, and who were some of the other guys that were coming out of Queens and in the city at that time?
I could tell you a lot. My junior year, you know, you had Lloyd Daniels.
Right.
You had Sean Green in my division. You had Matt Tucker, went to Hofstra. We had Kenny Anderson was it as well. Billy Singleton when I came out. You had Alvin Rich. from Springfield, Tiny from Lincoln. You had Moses Scurry from Eli Whitney,
Malik.
B.J. Carter, Malik Silly, which I played against AAU. Me and Kenny played in the AAU against them. Brian Reese. It was a lot of
Reese
talent in
in
New York
North
City.
Carolina. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a lot of talent in New York City. Gordon Winchester, who was with me at Seton Hall. It was a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And then for me coming out of Far Rockaway at that time, to me, I just felt that a lot of people at that time really didn't know too much about Far Rock. I lived in Far Rockaway, and I didn't even know my history until after I got to Seton Hall. Then I realized that Mel Utley, who played at St. John's, he was from Far Rockaway. So it was a big gap that was missing as I was growing up.
Just so you know, 68-62, the Hall won.
Oh, perfect. Good. Thank you.
There you go. All right.
We can relax now.
All right. So now, so you're going to school out there, and you're having a career in high school. You're averaging like 35 at one point,
35.6 or something. So
yeah, my senior year, and it was. I could say this. I, as a kid, played. I mean, my junior year, I remember sitting down. First of all, my sophomore year, I started out pretty good, and I remember one of the players on my team named Bruce Smith. I guess because I came up the scene so quick as a sophomore, he asked me what kind of school you want to go to, and I said St. John's. I don't know why I said it. I just said St. John's, and first thing he said to me was, "St. John's don't recruit in Far Rockaway." Now, St. John's at that time, you talking about Chris Mullins, Mark Jackson, and them. They've been to the Final Four. As a kid from New York City, you always think about going to St. John's or playing at the Garden. That was my motivation as a kid. And I remember my junior year, averaged like 20-some points a game. We missed the playoff by a game. And guys, some seniors on my team was more concerned with them getting points than winning. And my goal was, whatever I got to do to win, I'm going to win. Even playing with Riverside or the Gauchos and things of that nature, my senior year, I knew I was going to make some noise. Somebody going to have to say something. Who was this kid average 30-some points a game? And not only just doing it, we're winning behind it. And that year, we went 21-4, made it to the Final Four, and I was all city on every Newsday, Daily News, and one NYC Play of the Year that time as well. So that year,
with that group, that's something to be said for that. With the group that you just mentioned, all those guys, I mean, that's something to be said for making all city with that.
Pretty darn good guards in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh no doubt in my mind. I and for me, it was more of a challenge for me because not only just for me, I knew a lot of people in my neighborhood who were real good players, and they pushed me. So with me just having an opportunity, I really wanted to carry my neighborhood with me. If I can break the doors, my brother was behind me, my cousin Stacy was behind him, and then we had a tree of other individuals that was behind us. But somebody had to take the lead in order for people to know, just not, they always trying to say, Far Rockaway is not part of Queens. Some people thought it was part of Long Island. Far Rockaway is part of Queens. So when I think of the Kenny Smith, the Mark Jackson, these are people I see on TV who plays like Kenny Anson and taught Kenny Smith. In Far Rockaway, there was nobody for me to touch. I was the only person that had to open the path in terms of getting recognition out of Far Rockaway. And then I remember my senior year when finally Lou Conaseca did walk through Far Rock High School, recruited me. And I was supposed to sign with St. John's. So it was almost like a kid just had a dream. And at the end of the dream, the same coach that you thought you wanted to go to is out there recruiting you as well.
Wow. So
He's
you
a
had a little
guy.
bit, you had a little bit of a different path than the way most guys go, right? So talk about that. So you went to community college first.
Correct.
Okay. And we're in Florida Wade, is that what it was?
Miami-Dade.
Oh, Miami-Dade. Miami-Dade Community College, right. So talk about how you got there, because it's an unbelievable story. Talk to us about David Gerwitz and your path to get to Seton Hall through all the trials and tribulations you had to go through to get there. Now,
at that time, you talk about a kid who was trying to pave the way for his future. And there was the SAT test, the standardized testing that states that you don't get a 700, you're not allowed to go play college basketball your first year.
Right.
And I know I was talking to St. John's at the time. And during that time, it was like that was basically either you sit out 1 year or most likely everybody would take that route. Like Boo Harvey for St. John's, when he didn't do well at Jackson, he went to San Jacinto.
Right.
Yep.
You know, a lot of players went that way. So at
Walter
that time,
Walter
my
did too.
mother,
Walter went the same place,
yes,
right?
Walter
Yeah, Billy
Berry, yes,
Goodwin.
And
yeah,
Sweet Pea.
exactly, and
Yeah.
yes, exactly. So at that time, my senior year, I was undecided at that point because I was still taking the SAT test. I still had one more crack at it. And I remember coming to school, and my coach said a guy named David Gerwitz called the school, and he wants to tutor you. He read there's a big article on me, New York Times schoolboy pondered his career, reference to his SAT. My grades in school was okay. It was just that I couldn't pass the SAT.
Right.
And he called. We wound up meeting him. I was a shy kid. He could tell you I wouldn't even talk. And it's kind of strange that I meet somebody, a Jewish guy, kid from Far Rockaway, and then me and him drew a bond. Even up to today, we still talk. Like he's a big brother to me, even up to today.
Yeah.
And at that point, we used to meet at his home. He'd come out to Far Rockaway at his office, and we'd sit down and we'd talk. He had me read the newspapers, and he just guided me through. And when I didn't pass the exam, and even to the point where I take tutoring, he put his finance behind it as well. So
Wow.
he stated that he did it because at that time he was having a child. His
Yeah.
child was being born, and he just wanted to get back, and just happened to read the New York Times
So
and decided to reach out to me.
so let me get this straight. Some guy in the Bronx, because that's where Dave's from, right?
Correct.
He's a Bronx guy. Some guy in the Bronx reads an article about you, and he starts to think about his own life and his own family coming up. He's got a baby on the way or just born, and
Uh-huh.
he reaches out to your school to see if he can help you randomly. You've never knew this guy and never heard from this guy before. This was the first time you heard from him, is when he's going to help you with your getting through the SATs.
Correct. Never had a
That's
conversation,
amazing.
nothing at all with this man. But we drew a bond, strong bond,
How
based on that.
fortunate, I mean, how fortunate are you that somebody, listen, I mean, you would have to go, and you had to go to community college anyway to get through it because of the testing thing. And everybody knows about Prop 48 and stuff like that. There's a lot of great guys that went through. And one of the guys we talked to very recently, Anthony Avent, was a Prop 48 guy, came back, got his degree after he played so many years in the NBA. Stuff like that happens all the time. But to have somebody come out and kind of like an angel to come out of nowhere and say, "Hey, I want to help you out," that had to make you feel good. I mean, that's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. If that doesn't happen just like that. There's something or someone got to him and said, "Hey, what do you think? What do you think caused him to do that, Ali?"
Honestly, the only thing I can tell you is his child. He just felt
Yeah.
that he just had to get back. And for me, I always says, things don't happen just to happen. God put things in place for things to happen.
Exactly.
And for
That's
him
what I
to
was
reach
getting
out
at.
to me, I just had to be thankful, coming from a home of 5 other siblings and my mother
Right.
just trying to raise us. So it was like a blessing in the sky.
Wow. And it's funny because when I read up about this story, what struck me as interesting about Dave is he was mentored by Red Auerbach.
Correct.
That's unbelievable. I mean, so in a sense, you got some of the lessons through David that Red Auerbach gave him.
Correct.
That's unbelievable, So
And a lot of our stories started that way.
what was that?
A lot of our stories started that way in terms of mentoring from Red
Yeah.
Auerbach.
Oh, I bet because Red Auerbach is a guy that's got. Matter of fact, there was a book written about him, called "Let Me Tell You a Story," written by our buddy
John Feinstein.
on Feinstein, and
Oh, okay.
yeah, and so Auerbach had stories for days, with all the people that he's touched through
Correct.
sports and stuff.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
okay,
And
so
he
now
followed, but Auerbach also followed, because I read that book. He also followed local high school sports.
he did.
Oh,
So
wow.
he took a special interest in Sherman Douglas, as a matter of fact. And then when Sherman was in the league, he made it a point for the Celtics to bring him in because he knew him as a kid and he followed him. So I wouldn't doubt, if I can't remember when Red passed, but if he probably was doing the same thing for you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's wild.
That's very unique.
Very,
Yeah,
very
very
unique.
unique. So now you go, you get your grades up enough, and you go to Miami-Dade Community, right? And you guys go 28-1 your first year there, right? So I mean, talk about that. What that was like playing down in Miami. That's a listen. There's a lot of distractions down there for a student athlete, man.
Yeah, how about just
around Miami?
Yeah, how about just relocating?
Right.
Kid from the city, all of a sudden you're in Miami, and you're on your own.
Rockaway Beach to Miami Beach is two different things, Ollie.
By far. No, but the funny thing about that story is that before my senior ended, my mother had moved and brought a house down in South Florida.
Okay.
And she was living in Florida. So when I sat down with UConn II and St. John's and we talked about junior college, I said, well, find me a school out in Miami. And they decided to call Miami-Dade. Now, Miami-Dade has two campuses, really four, but two basketball campuses, North and South. My mother lived on the South. So I could have went to Dade South. But somehow my coach contacted Miami-Dade. I mean, my coach, UConn II, contact Miami-Dade North and talked to Bill Einheim. Bill Einheim is really, to me, is almost the equivalent of what is Dean Smith of junior college.
Okay.
He's one of them coaches that legendary. So when he get a call, his team the year before was like 12-16. And during that summer, he got like a bunch of his big guys coming back. He also got all-state guard Gene Delaware, who was right behind Chris Corciani and played of the year in the state of Florida, excuse me. He had his point guard there. So when St. John's called him and said, we got a guard, first thing Bill Einheim says was, I already got my team. I don't need no other players. And then when St. John told him who I was, get him on the plane. And then I went down there. And for me to go down there from being in New York, you got to understand, I came down there, and some of the guys even teased me to this day, said, when Coach said that he got this player come from New York tomorrow, some guy named Oliver Tier averaged 30-some points a game, and he was pretty high on it. I get down there, and they say they saw me on campus. I'm walking down on campus in the hot sun with a sweater on and a shirt underneath it, and it's 90 degrees out there. And I'm a New York weather type person. Wow. So I had to adjust to the culture. And they helped me through it, even when we started working pre-drills and things like that nature outside on the football field. If you ever get overheated, hop, just stop. Because we know the weather is different. But for me, being a competitor, it was just whatever happened. And then the team was so good that year. I mean, when I say good, I mean, we could have beat some Division I teams.
Yeah.
And we just kept rolling and kept getting better and kept rolling until we, lost one game, the final game of the state championship game, to Carl Brown and them, Chipola, junior college.
So Coach Lou helps you get down there, all right? It goes to. So how did you wind up at the Hall? That's another funny story too. St. John's was still recruiting me. My coach even told other coaches who were trying to recruit me that no matter what happened, he is going to the Big East. So they knew I'm going to the Big East. Now, during that time, you remember Boo Harvey and Boo Harvey and Michael Porter, I think the other guard was with him, was at St. John's. Right.
I knew by the time I would have left, by the time I would arrive, they would be just leaving.
Yep.
But somehow his grades something happened with his grade. He had to sit out for a year to pay his final year or whatever happened with his grades. And I knew Boo was there. I have number of respect for Boo Harvey. He's a great player. When I was a sophomore, I played against him. He played at Jackson. So I played against Boo Harvey. So I know how great of a player he is. And that year, probably before, Seton Hall made a run. Right. And that's when they went to the national championship game.
Right.
Yep.
My goal was to find a school that's close enough to New York City, so my parents, my family, and friends could see me, and play in the Big East from day one. I think, and then when I went up to Seton Hall, just the camaraderie, talking to PJ, talking to the staff, I just fell in love with just being at Seton Hall, close to home. Not too close to home, but I just have to have that campus life and not be okay. So that being said, I mean, it was just a great opportunity, a chance to be close to home, but not too close to home. Had campus life. The school wasn't too big. I don't know if you've ever been to Miami-Dade North. Miami-Dade North was like a university. You're talking about walking from one end to the next end to go to school, practicing, and then coming to Seton Hall was a smaller university. You get national exposure because you just won a national title. You get an opportunity to be close to home, so you can go home if I want to go home on holidays or weekends, I have an opportunity to go home. So it worked out fine for me. And that was one of the main reasons why I went to Seton Hall. I did contact UConn and them and thank them for allowing me to go to junior college to put myself in a position to be where I'm at.
Right. Wow. That's again, that's not the same path that, everybody else takes. That's a different path. And I'm sure came with a lot of challenges. So now you get to the Hall.
Wait, did you do 1 year or did you do 2 years there? You did 1 year.
I did 2 years. 2 years
Did
at
both years. Okay.
Miami-Dade. Because you had to graduate and get your degree in order to
matriculate.
Yep. To matriculate into a university.
Gotcha.
So then you didn't have to sit out a year. After doing 2 years at Miami-Dade, you were able to go right and play right away at.
Correct. As long as you graduate, get your degree at your junior college, you're eligible to play.
Wow. So now you get to Seton Hall your first year, and the team struggles a little bit. It's not used to you're not used to the struggles, and you got to fit in. Talk about what it was like for you your first year in the Big East, trying to fit into the system. You got players in there like Terry DeHare and others that were pretty good players. Terry went on to go play in the pros. Talk about trying to fit in your first year at Seton Hall.
Just starting out, I started getting used to participating and playing at that level, learning how physical the Big East is in terms of conference, learning how to play on the PJ system as a player. I've been on a team all my career that coaches will allow me to score, allow me to do whatever I want on the court. And in PJ case, he wanted to put me into being a true point guard. And I struggle with that because in my mind, somebody in front of me overplaying me tight, my only goal was to attack, to make them pay.
Right.
But that's not what's going to make you win in the Big East. So in the beginning stage, I came out of the gate fast. I twisted my ankle, I think, against Iona. I played at home game. And one thing I learned that when you get hurt and come back, nobody waits on you. You still got to play the game. The game is still physical. So it became mental for me my first year. And then as I went through the season, I felt I was a little confused sometimes because you don't know what you're doing. You turn the ball over, you felt that the coach gonna pull you. It was tough. It was really tough. And then towards the end of the year, I started seeing myself again, peaking again, starting to be myself. So I knew what I had to do at that point. I knew I had to, over the summer, I had not only just work on my game, but look at films, look at what I did wrong. And when I looked at films, to be honest with you, I realized if I was the coach, I'd pull myself out as well.
Now, did you have a very good relationship with PJ? Was Coach Mike Brown there at the time?
No, Baker was there, Sully, and Bruce Hamburger.
Did you have, was there like good cop, bad cop? Like, in our school was, with Syracuse, it was Boeheim, Bernie, Brendan, and then it was Wayne Morgan. And you had different relationships with your assistants. Did you have the same thing at Seton Hall? Because I will tell you one thing, PJ, we interviewed him. He loves his guys. I mean, he makes no qualms about it. He thinks very highly of his players.
Let me explain this about PJ that I learned. Outside of basketball, a great person. When I mean a great person, he's a great person. As a coach, he demands a lot from you because he wants to see you do the best. And without me learning that from him, I don't think I would play professional for 11 years overseas without that. Because even though he'll pull you for making mistakes, it was to mentally get me tough to play the game under the bright lights in a full arena of 20-some thousand people. And you have to be ready for that. You can't be lackadaisical. And not only that, you have to be him on the court, if you understand what I mean. Like, he expects something to be done on the court because he can't play. He can't go, run the plays. So now you're becoming a senior. Now I'm putting the ball in your hand. Now I need you to do this, this, and this so I can trust you to do it. When you're in your first year, you know what got you there. If I'm going to the hole and I'm junior college, I get over to the basket, it's easy. I get to the basket, you got Lonzo Mourning, Derek Coleman, them. They 6'11", they move like guards. They will block your shots. Right. So when you said about bad cop, good cop, Coach Sullivan and Hamburger, as well as Baker, was actually, Sully, most importantly, was actually the ones who gave me knowledge as I got my game to where it got to my senior year. Because they told me some key pointers that I need to work on and learn from. And I listened to it by looking at films and started doing what was expected of me. And that's what changed everything for our program.
How about coming in as a junior college player? Because my freshman year, we had a JUCO, and I don't ever recall a JUCO going to Syracuse. And he was, and it was a little awkward. And it was a little more pressure. It was a different feel for him. What was it like for you coming in as a junior now into now you're new, so you're a freshman in terms of your experience with the team. What was that like, just getting into that environment at that level?
A couple of things, because Syracuse, to be honest with you, Syracuse was one of the teams that came late, recruited me as well.
Really?
I knew I was going to Big East. At that time, they had, I forgot the freshman there, he was running freshman. And they had Stevie Thompson at the time. It would have been a good
Billy
fit.
Edelman?
No. He was a freshman at the time. He played with Derek Coleman.
Michael Edwards?
Michael Edwards,
yep.
guard. Yeah.
Yep.
And coming in, you know you was coming in to start. You know you don't have time to, I'm not a freshman. I've been battle tested, at least at the junior college level. So now you're coming in to use the experience that you had in junior college. Now you're going into a lead, whereas in the beginning, we were tested with Michigan. We were tested with Wake Forest. Now, we came out of the gate pretty good. We played NC State. But then you get into the Big East Conference, and the game from playing them compared to the Big East was night and day. The physicality of the Big East was totally different. You come to play Lonzo Mourning, setting fix, hitting you. The guards are physical, and you're learning. As you're learning in the Big East, it was tough because behind me was Darryl Chris, a freshman. So now, you looking at yourself saying, I make a mistake, I'm getting pulled, freshmen coming in. The freshman will do anything he can because he's not as skilled as you are as a player, as far as you're concerned, because of your experience and plus the athletic ability. So it was tough to sit down and try to match that when you come from a program all your life where you played 35, 40 minutes a game.
Right.
Now you got to deal with a coach that pulling you out of the game every time you turn the ball over or if you make a bad pass. So it was tough.
Yeah, it's tough when you get into a situation like that, being the new guy, first of all, and getting involved with stuff like that. But you guys, your next year, 91, you guys had a pretty good team and ran the gamut in the Big East. So talk about the regular season challenges that you had on your senior team to lead up to the Big East tournament.
Okay. Now, before I get there, I have to go to my junior year because we were competitive, but we didn't know how to win.
Right.
So we were playing good games, but we just couldn't close them out. We played Oklahoma, the number one team in the country at the Meadowlands. We had them on the ropes, but we just didn't know how to close it. So my senior year, as we started.
Well, wait. Can I interrupt 1 second?
Yes.
But the year prior to that, 89, they're in the national championship game, right?
Yeah, before that. And mind you, all the players on that team left.
Right. But so now you guys you got a little more of a target on your back, though, is what I'm saying.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So you got people looking at y'all as being the Cinderella team the year before.
Right.
Now to a team who now you get national exposure because of what the other guys did the year before, and everybody coming at you. So you playing the toughest schedule, toughest team.
Yep.
And you put yourself in that position growing up as a kid, you wanted to play the best competition. But getting to my senior year, I think in the beginning of the year, we worked hard. We started to define our positions. PJ made me and Aben the captain. Now I'm a senior. Now I did my homework in terms of looking at films, looking at what he wanted from me. And then Sully always told me, no matter what, if you make your shots, PJ can't pull you.
Yeah.
No matter what. He said at the end of the game, he's going to need you. So you're the only closer we have on the team. So don't let that get in your head to spur you out. You get pulled out, you sit back down, you breathe, you get back in the game, and you pick up where you left off at. And I took that to heart. And then everything
shooters got to shoot.
Yeah, he just told me instead of going all the way, making it hard for yourself. Because I seen you in junior college, you go with the whole guys hit you, you got bigger guys now. Pull up 15-foot, 10-footer, make the jump shot, go back. You got to worry about nothing else. And I just try to practice that every day, even in practice. And then to the point where we started going on a roll and started winning. And then once we started winning, started believing, and then the core unit that we had, me, Avent, Terry, Jerry Walker, Gordon Winchester, a Taurus. Like we just started building brotherhood, and then we just started rolling and put us in the best position that we can be in. Now we get down to the point where we get in towards the end of the year. You know, you have to win a certain amount of games, so you get opportunity to get to the NCAA tournament. We knew we were pretty much going in there until the Big East, that weekend the Big East tournament happened. And then for me personally, you know, just a kid from New York City, grew up, and I remember my senior year getting All City, hadn't gone to the Madison Square Garden to pick up my All Queens, All City jacket. As it was like a dream come true. And I'll say this story that when I was a junior in high school, I'm telling this now, my mother might hear this and might be mad at me too, because I ain't tell her this. My junior year in high school, I remember I cut school to run home to watch Georgetown play Syracuse at the Garden around noontime because I wanted to see Pearl against Georgetown. And my grades was always good, but just the principle of me doing that, just to watch it. And then a whole 4 years later, now it's me at the Garden playing Georgetown at a certain time. And then within a month ago, when someone posted something on the Big East, I heard somebody in my neighborhood said, remember when you played at Seton Hall, we used to cut school to watch you play at the Garden.
How about that? That's pretty cool.
Did PJ ask you though too? You mentioned the guy that was behind you, the freshman, Brian Christ. Did PJ ask you to take him a little bit under your wing and kind of impart some wisdom on him and bring him along quicker, or did he not do that?
My junior year?
Yeah, junior and senior year.
No, my senior year we had Brian Caver came in.
Okay.
So Brian came in as a talented freshman, and Brian had a lot of talent. So basically, Brian, to me, I basically try to teach him as a leader of that team to prepare him for the year once I leave. I said it's one thing to be a starter and to come off the bench. When you're a starter, you out there grinding. When you come to the bench, you come out fresh. You can have spurts because you're fresh. Your 5-6 minutes could be outstanding. But when you got to go out there and you got to play 30 minutes, there's going to be times where you get tired and mistakes start happening. So I try to teach him that as well. So PJ never told me that. I guess, worked as I followed my lead, basically as a senior, as a leader.
Yeah, based on everything I know about you and your story, I would just assume it would be a natural fit for you.
Oh yeah, it was definitely that. And Brian even said that to me up to today. He always a quote on something I put on. You know, thank you for being a great leader for us during that time. Mm-hmm. And like I said, the best thing I ever heard PJ even said about me that some of my career was when someone asked him during the Big East tournament, and PJ said he is the best point guard in the Big East, pure point guard. And I thought about the year before that I played and how reckless sometimes I was in the game, to now studying film, preparing myself, and giving him what he wanted as a player, and it made me a better person as well.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of wish you'd had a couple more years of that to experience more success like you had, you know?
Yes, definitely.
Because you learn so much as you go through, and you were on a crash course, Ali. I mean, you had to learn, you know, what Sonny and I learned in 4 years in 2, you know,
correct.
Basically, you know, so that had to be difficult at times, I'm sure, you know.
Yeah, oh yeah. I always say that, you know, some players can come in as a young player, as a freshman, and can get it right away.
Yeah.
But you're gonna run into a wall eventually.
Oh yeah.
But when you got 2 years and you only got the time to show what you can do in 2 years, your first year gonna be your year where you're going to try to learn and go through the process. If you would have had success that year, then your senior year would be much better. But because we had the bump in the road, learning that and trying to learn how to win, what made my senior year being what it was, because then I started learning how to win. And if I had another year to come back, then it probably would have been a lot different.
Would have been a lot different, yeah.
Oh yeah, by far.
So talk about now going into the Big East tournament your senior year. Okay, you guys were what were you seeded? Do you remember going into that? Was it 2, 3?
No. I think were we a 4 seed? No. I'm not. I can't be honest with you. I couldn't even tell you. I know we played Pittsburgh the first round.
Played Pitt first, and
they
had a squad. You know, they had.
Oh yeah.
You know, Jason Matthews was there, right? You know,
Sean Miller,
yeah.
Bobby Martin. Oh yeah, they had a
Bobby,
squad.
Yeah, they had a squad. I remember that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then the first half, when I say they came out of the gate and I looked at the score. I thought we was down 20. That's how bad they came out. And then Avon just took over at that point. Avon just started being physically, just presented himself throughout that game. And next, I seen the game getting closer, and we had a chance to do something. And then I remember them going up 1. We had the ball. PJ called timeout. We had the ball, and PJ told me, run a certain play that we always run. Gordon he said, if you get down there, Avon got the guy post, give him the ball.
Yep.
Watch out for Terry. Gordon gonna set a pick for Terry. Terry gonna flash. Gordon gonna flash, give him the ball, and then give it to Terry for a jump shot. As I got down, the guy was Gordon so close, I was almost kind of scared to pass it.
Yeah.
And I held the ball just 1 second more. All I heard was PJ say go. Once he said go, it's like I felt at that moment I was in my backyard. This is what I'm comfortable doing. And then I saw how Avon shield the individual off. Because my goal was to take a couple steps and pull up on a jump shot.
Yeah.
But when Avon sealed them off, I was going to the hole, and I kept my eye on Brian Shorter because his back was turned to me.
Yeah, you had that little lane right there.
Correct.
Yeah,
and when Brian Shorter turned around, I immediately went up to go for layup. But when I released it, his hand was right there.
Yep.
If I would have waited a second later, he probably would have blocked that shot.
Wow.
And that was the end of the game.
And right at the buzzer. And
right at the buzzer.
Yeah, right at the buzzer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right at the buzzer.
And listen, they called that run that you had, and we're going to go over the next one because it was against a team that was near and dear to my heart, the Wildcats. But, that's one of the top 10 all-time Big East tournament plays. They list that as one of the top 10 plays ever in the Big East tournament in the last 30-something years.
That was great to look at. I seen that as well.
Yeah, Kemba.
So, there was a bunch of them,
Oh, yeah.
Both happened against Pitt.
Well, yeah. Yeah, poor Pittsburgh. But, so you come down, you make that, the place goes nuts, and now you got to turn around and play the next night, right? You got the Wildcats the next night. So what does PJ say to you guys in the locker room? And what's the game plan the next day? Did you have to go and watch film that night or the following morning, or you just got up, did your normal routine, went to shoot around, and we're back at the Garden to play the Cats?
Yeah, that night usually you go back. You're gonna rest up because you got a game next morning. Walk through it, watch a couple of films on who we play, and we're familiar with each other from playing and going over throughout the Big East. We just wanted to start out fast instead of coming from behind. Because sometimes you come from behind, you don't have enough energy, you will lose the game. And then we went on playing with Villanova, and I realized during the game Terry was struggling. And I know at that time Walker. We was roughly about the same height. Yeah, and I always believe in my heart, that anybody my height, I was always a scorer. And I had a pretty good game, and I was shooting the ball very well that game. So I was having a real good game, keeping us in the game. And we were behind at one point until Terry hit a 3 that tied the score.
Right.
And then when they came down and missed, we came down court, and PJ called me to 50-some seconds, basically pay on top of the head to go one-on-one. So we get the final shot. And I happened to shoot it, hit the rim, and wind up going in. And then they came back down, and Dardell rebound and scored, tied the score again with 13 seconds. We didn't call a timeout. PJ put the ball in my hand. He told me what play to call, which I knew was my play. And at that point, dribbling the ball, when I look at it now, it's kind of weird because when I look at it now, it's like how calm and collective and I feel like I wasn't worrying about anything on the court.
Right.
Now, if I had to do that again today, we might have a problem. I might kick the ball with my feet. But no. Yep. But on a serious note, I knew in my head that this is a different situation than the night before. Because the night before I missed, we're going home. This night I missed, all we got now is overtime. So my goal at this point is I got shooters. Once I get penetrated, they double. I got Terry and Torres spot now for jump shots. If they don't double, it's one-on-one.
Right.
And at that time, I said, I'm going to make my move because PJ told me to go 8 seconds, and I held it even longer. No. He's out on the court. I used what he told me as when I first came in is to be a coach on the court. Even though he called the play to go early, I'm going to override that now by I'm taking the last shot and make sure that I miss, we're going overtime, I score, we're going home. And when I was making my move at that point, I knew once I faked Walker one way and he went, I know I was going to get the shot out. It's just about me making it. And once I released it, I knew in my heart, I knew it was good. That I just, you can feel it.
Yeah,
in
sure.
your
That was
heart.
a little
But,
channeled a little Pearl Washington crossover into that pull-up.
yeah, and then the funny thing, like at that point, when I released it, like I knew at that point that it was good, and if it wasn't good, then it almost, at that point something could happen. But I mean, it actually worked out for us. The shot went in. They had, I guess, a 1 point some second left to make a decision to score. They didn't turn the ball over, and then we won the game and moved on.
Yeah. And now you got Georgetown, the team that you cut school to go watch play, in the Garden for the Big East chip.
Wait.
Mhm.
He cut school to watch Syracuse. That's all.
Well,
They
Syracuse
just
versus
happen to be
Georgetown.
playing
Sonny,
Georgetown.
come on. Don't ruin. Listen, I really pumped that up good, and you just jammed me on that.
I gotta throw my guys out there,
You just
man.
blocked my shot. How did you
I gotta
do
put my guys out there, man.
so anyway, so to get back, so now you get out and you're good. You got the Georgetown Hoyas in the final. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So now no extra prep, same as always. You knew who they were. Did PJ go through anything in walkthrough or anything that was different?
No, it's just basically the same thing. We just playing another game, even though it's for the championship. We just playing another game. I remember Leslie Visser coming to me during the game, before the game started, and said, "Well, you made a layup to win one game. You hit a jump shot to make another one. So I guess this game you need a 3-pointer to win it, so you could capture your whole weekend." I said, "Please, let's hope we don't have to do that, because at the end of the day, we could be the team on the other end. I could miss, or it could be somebody else scoring, and then we lose."
Yeah.
So I think the Georgetown game, I believe it showed a lot of stuff about our team. I think we took it personal. And when I say personal, I mean we were so connected as we played in Georgetown. We know it's going to be a physical game. But then at one point, Terry went to the hole. Alonzo wanted to throw him down and stepped over. And like, you could tell it was one of them games. I went told when somebody passed me, he hit me. Like, it was to be one of them games, and our team just,
Yeah.
let's fight.
That was the game where Mourning and he stepped like right over him.
Yeah. And at that point, we was like, nah.
I remember that clip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And yeah, remember, we shot, I believe, 35% from the floor and won by double figures in that game. So we knew as a defensive team, we're going to be in game. We don't care how we shoot. We're going to play hard as a team unit of defense. Me and Terry basically enough to stay in front of our men. But team defensive-wise, we was locked in. And that prepared us to move forward as well in the NCAA tournament as well.
I mean, and you beat those guys pretty handily. You were up big early, and then that was back and forth for a little bit, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
And we
I mean, and they got two Hall of Famers. You had Dikembe and Alonzo was on that team, right?
Yes.
So
imagine that.
Two big Hall of Famers back there trying to defend the goal, and that's fantastic. So now you come out, you're Big East champs, and you realize the dream that you had from when you were a kid in Rockaway Beach, right?
Far Rockaway, yep.
Yeah, Far Rockaway.
And then even that, you go to any newspapers during that time, my parents, my friends, like everybody who supported me at that time was at the game. My brothers. It was just an unsurreal moment. Just being a person from New York and be able to be on center stage, and just thinking about the time my mother used to take us as kids to Madison Square Garden to watch WWF. I'm not sure if y'all familiar with that.
Yep.
Wrestling, and we used to sit way in the balcony watching Bob Backlund, Jimmy Fly, Super. Like all that memories came to me that moment.
Backlund,
Jordan, being there, even looking at Ali's, like it was just something that my mom used to take me and my cousin Stacy and my cousin Clay and my brothers, and you just thinking about the cage match with Superfly Snooker, Andre the Giant, like Pedro Morales, like everything that moment makes it. This is the same place where you was a little kid, watch this entire situation happen, and now you use the center stage of it.
Wow. How cool is that? That had to be awesome. That's
lifetime memories.
Lifetime memories, right? You're not kidding. So you got an opportunity to play a little bit after college, right? You wound up going overseas. You played in Puerto Rico and Israel, right?
And France.
France.
Dubai. I was in Argentina.
Oh wow.
Actually, when I first came out,
how many years did you play? How many years did you play overseas?
Altogether, 11 years.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then the first time when I came out, I went to the Bulls first, and I made it to the final cut. And they wanted me to go to CBA at that point, and I decided to go overseas for money wise.
Now, when you played in France, did you play with or against Ron Stewart from St. John's? You remember Ron? He was on that '85 team. He was
And Billy
also
too. Billy Goodwin was over there.
yeah. Billy was there.
No, I tell you who was over there. I played against Conrad McRae was there. I played against Conrad McRae. David Rivers was out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dominique Wilkins was out there. Delaney Rudd was out there. And then funny, Dominique was kind of strange because Dominique Wilkins lived out here in Georgia. And I've seen Dominique plenty of times. Because he lives in my county. Delaney Rudd used to play with Utah. And back then, they always used to take big guys, not guards.
Right.
It was very few guards out there. It was just David Rivers, I think, was the first, and Delaney Rudd was second. Then me, and then other teams started bringing other guards in, seeing what we was able to do with their organization.
Right.
So it was a great stint.
So you did that for 11 years, and you played all over the place. That had to be an experience. What was playing in Israel like? I mean, at any moment, there's all kinds of action going on over there, and now it's flared up again. So what was that like? Was there any problems with anything going on?
Now, the difference between Israel, like I said, I try to look at things in a certain way. Like in France, for example, the team in France I was with was in Rouen, which is like 4 hours from Paris, hour from Lyon, and every team was maybe 7-8 hours away from each other. So every team has 2 Americans each team. Right. My team had 3. We had another guy, Cedric Lewis, who played at University of Maryland, and I had a guy named Tommy Davis who played in Minnesota, but he married a French woman, so he became a naturalized player. So he don't count as American. Right. And us 3 will bond. So when you play another team, you and the other Americans will exchange numbers just, to keep our camaraderie together, because we play home and away together. So when they come to us, we hang out. If I go to them, they, meet up in a hotel and things of that nature. And Israel was different because Israel, everybody was close. The furthest place you probably played is 45 minutes. So we had places where Americans hang out. We see each other every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. So it was a different feel. But then I started learning some of the culture with the Palestinians and the Israelites, things of that nature, of, why they fighting. Yeah. And I've learned that when I talked to one of the Palestinians was saying that, I'm like, why would y'all fight tanks, throwing rocks at tanks and things of that nature? And their response was basically saying to me was, we believe if you fight for the land that they stole, then you die for it, you're going to heaven. And who am I to tell them what to believe, what not to believe?
Yeah,
they were born with it. So I learned why they do the things that they do. Because to me, coming from New York City, I'm not going to a gunfight with a water gun. That to me don't make sense.
Yeah,
but that's their belief.
When you visit, because we visited there, now you were living there playing, it's a completely different feel and vibe. When you understand, you can feel a lot of the tension in the air at different places. It's just no other way to describe it.
No, it's true. And I can tell you, one day I went to the post office and I took my bag and just put it down to walk to the counter just to say I'm gonna mail something off. Just because I left my bag 4 feet away from me, it's like it alarmed everybody in there. Oh no, you can't leave your bag. Like, you have to get your bag. Wherever your bag goes, wherever you go, your bag has to be with you. So you knew at that point the sincerity of the danger, how it feels. But the good thing about it, I think they kept us safe. I didn't really have to see it on the front lines. When you watch the news, you can see the Palestinians, but that's most in the outer skirt of Israel. Mm-hmm. So I never experienced hands-on, besides one day when they had some machine go to some mailbox, somebody left the bag at the mailbox, at the phone booth, and they had to check things of that nature. Other than that, I really didn't feel anything negative in terms of danger of my safety.
Yeah, Wendell Alexis talked about that when he was playing. There were certain places, you had certain guards and certain things happen that you were either aware of or sometimes not aware of. So
yeah. Now, one of the places I visited was Dubai, and I promise you, I probably wouldn't have went if I knew where it was. I know my agent had called me and told me you got a place in Dubai. I want you to play for some national team tournament. Some things going on out there. And I said, all right, no problem. Get on a plane. We flew for 6 hours I think it was either from Miami to London, and then they took about 6 more hours. But I didn't know about the Gulf, wherever it was close to. Yeah, Saudi Arabia, whatever. And I remember getting off the plane because it wasn't like you stop at a terminal and then you walk out into the terminal. You stop like on a runway. You get off the plane and you got guys out there with these AR-15 guns as you get off the plane, and they got to go on the plane. The pilots check the plane before Everybody got to get off the plane. And to me, I was kind of like, this is why I'm coming over here to play basketball? And this is what they're doing to the plane. I'm getting off. The pilots got to get off. But then once I got into the city of Dubai, the greatest experience I ever had in my life.
Really?
Yeah, the greatest.
So, I know that they're basketball crazy in Puerto Rico. I know that.
Oh yeah. Superiorly, oh yeah.
And in Israel too, was it Maccabi, Team Maccabi?
Yeah, Maccabi. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Some people out there. I remember in Puerto Rico. I ain't gonna lie. I got the first crazy experience of my life was we was playing a game, and referee made a bad call or something, and somebody threw something on the court, and all I saw was smoke come out of it. I'm running out the arena. I'm the only one running. Everybody else standing there. I'm turning around, everybody looking at me like, what's wrong with this guy? I'm thinking it's a bomb or something.
What are you waiting for? A bang?
I'm like, what y'all waiting for? I'm getting out. My cousin,
better be safe than sorry. Right.
Yes. So I've learned things of that nature. Be mindful. But it was a great experience. So
now how do you get involved? How do you get involved with what you're doing today, which is law enforcement? How do you take that path? How did you go from playing professional basketball in Europe to being in law enforcement?
To me, I almost identify as equal. And when I'm saying this, and I'm gonna say this in a funny way, not in a serious way, I'm still shooting something. Not a jump shot, I'm shooting a gun in a positive way, just for a joke. But no.
Right.
I think as a basketball player, you actually conduct yourself in a certain way. In law enforcement, you have to conduct yourself. The media people watching you, what you do, how you carry yourself, and things of that nature. So to me, I identify that. And not only that, being a school resource officer at the time, it's like you're dealing with kids. It's again, right. I'm mentoring young students. And then that's when David Gerwitz got involved. And then I'm actually on Fox 5 here in the state of Georgia. I did maybe like 8 years ago a story. Dave Gerwitz lost like 10 years of our time because I was overseas somewhere, and I came back, and then we wound up getting back together. And we've been together ever since. So that's something that changes.
So Dave's involved with what you're doing now?
No. He's back in my life in terms of pick up the phone, we talk to each other all the time.
Yeah.
And things of that nature. So we do certain things. We're coming up with a book to do. There's a lot of things that we plan to get together to do now.
Yeah, that's great, man. I mean, so now you're a deputy sheriff and you're working with Salem High School. Talk about what you're doing with the kids, man, and getting people, to stay away from the gang life and getting people to stay away from drugs and things like that, and all the good things that you're doing now for kids.
Okay, no. Now I'm done. I walked away. I'm retired from it. I'm actually trying to I really want to get involved in coaching. How I really feel, but just getting involved with kids at that time, I'll be honest with you. There's a couple things that I always talk about. I'll never forget. I remember a situation where I always talk to kids. I follow the basketball team, the football team, the games. I watch these kids. I see that their desire was not like mine as a kid. Sometimes some kids think they're worthy to be better than what they are, instead of working the process to get better. So I remember this little young girl in school. She was in a foster home, and she was in the school. She used to act out a lot. And one day I told her, she got in an argument with her stepmoms or something, and we get back to school, and she ran away for the weekend. And then she came to school, it was a cold weekend, and she wouldn't talk to nobody until I got to the school. They showered her in the girls' bathroom, got her dressed. She told me her stepmother kicked out, and come to find out, she had a hickey on her neck. Whatever she was doing being fast, maybe that's what the reason was. So I told her, don't ever run away again, because you're sleeping in an abandoned house in the streets. It's cold. You can get sick. Something can happen to you. So I wound up giving her one of my deputy cards to put in her backup phone. I said, if you ever have a problem, call me, reference to that. So she got back on good track. So one day I was actually working a part-time job, and she had called me and told me I had enough. I'm done. I had enough. I'm done. So I said, what do you mean you had enough? What does that mean? She said, I'm done. I'm done. I had enough. I'm tired of being here. And hung up the phone.
Whoa.
So I contacted one of my dispatchers and asked him to send a deputy to her house to make sure she's okay. And then the deputy actually went to the house, called me back, said that they went to the house and talked to the mom. The mom said she's fine. So I tell the dispatch, had the deputy laid eyes on this young lady? And deputy said, no. I said, can you please go back, make sure you lay eyes on her? He went back to the house. Unfortunately, the mother went to the bathroom. She was in the bathroom, almost had a string around her neck, trying to choke herself.
Wow.
My question was, I live with it today, is what if I did not? I'll say, well, I'll wait till Monday to talk to her in school. What would have happened to her that night? And that would never leave me as long as I live.
Wow.
And then a couple years later, I was going to Walmart and I happened to run into her. And she's a lot older now. And she ran to me and hugged me. And she's doing so much better. And I still go back to that one moment. If this would have happened, what if I didn't respond to that certain situation? And it'd been okay. So there'd be no problem. You said the mother said she was all right, and then she would have choked herself in that bathroom.
Wow, man.
So there's a lot of stuff that, getting involved in that lifestyle, that you learn a lot, and it will humble you.
You have a deep faith.
Oh, very deep. Very
I
deep.
mean, to me, it's like you have to. I mean, just the things that have occurred, how they've occurred, and just like you said, what if? But you got to believe that there's a reason why you didn't.
Yes, no, and I do, because
Right?
I always go back to just a little skinny kid from Far Rockaway, had nothing in front of him. Like, how do I get from there to here without something bigger and greater than me? That people falls in my life for a reason,
Right.
and things happen. Even just like something like this, I just happened to go on, and I don't be on Facebook that much, or whatever it was, and somebody post that situation, and I was like, oh wow, like memories. And then now it's, oh, you need to talk to such and such, and now I'm on a podcast talking to you guys.
Yeah, our guys posted that.
Yep.
Nick and posted that on the Big East Rewind on Instagram, and I got a message from somebody who was a Seton Hall graduate and said you should talk to Oliver Taylor, and that's how this whole thing happened. So it was everything that has happened to you in your life has been by fate, or by you want to talk about a higher power or God or whatever, and it's amazing how that all works out, and it's really, really great, Ollie, to see that you are paying it forward to other people for the stuff that people did for you. Guys like Dave Gerwitz, did for you. You're paying it forward and have been paying it forward since he's done that for you. And that, you to be commended for that, man. That's really outstanding stuff. That's great, man, that you were able to do that.
I appreciate that.
Just seems so natural. Just seems like it's just who you are.
It's crazy. You think about it. I mean, if you sit back and think about your life to this point, Ollie, and you think about all the things that have occurred, you've lived a full life already with all the stuff that's happened to you and what's been going on. And, it's really great. I mean, I didn't know when we decided to talk to you, we wanted to talk to you because of your experiences at Seton Hall. And then I found out, and I told you on the phone earlier, I found out about everything else, and I wanted to delve into some of that stuff to hear your story, because I thought it was so fascinating. And, I really appreciate you sharing that with us. And I thank you for that, man. And for all that you're doing, with the kids and stuff like that. It's really awesome. It's great to see. And it's always good when somebody who's had the notoriety and fame and, everybody cheering you on like they were at the Garden, that you're able to be humble enough to give back to those that helped you and to help other people in their lives, like people helped you. It's really commendable.
Yeah, and definitely. And I said the good thing about it, even though all of this, is that when I do go back home to Far Rockaway, and going back to the same gym that I started. I mean, even though the gym looks totally different now, they got windows, they got backboards, breakaway backboards, and fiberglass now, heat in the gym now. Be able to talk to the kids that when I played back then, you talking about a gym with no windows and no heat, cold. We had to run to warm up before we start playing, the ball bouncing solid and things of that nature. And realizing even the kids nowadays don't play as they used to play compared to what because that's all we had.
Right.
And then with so much technology now and these phones and all these apps and things of that nature has bleed our kids away totally from working on things, and they have dreams. And my thing is what they always say, faith without work doesn't work. And I have to believe everything that I went through for a reason. And I just try to stay strong and committed to it.
Of course. Well, hopefully, my friend, we'll get to see you at the Big East tournament. I hope you come up and join us at the Big East tournament. There's an event going on that Eric Murdoch and your good buddy Anthony Avan are putting together at the Big East tournament, a meeting, a meetup for former players and fans of the conference, and hope to see you there in March.
Okay, I'm definitely looking forward to that. Trying to put things in place now to be there for that.
Yeah,
I
that'd be
always
great.
kept saying I wanted to come up to a Seton Hall game. When I left, I left. Like I was too far doing what I've been doing and been so
Right.
disconnected. But I stayed my post on Seton Hall. No matter where I go, what I do, I know a man like UConn and Syracuse and stuff like that. I'm Seton Hall all the way.
Yeah, and good luck to your nephew too, the rest of the way.
Thank you for sure.
Yeah,
You know,
he's in a good situation. That team is built different than any other team in the country. They have everything I think you need to win it all.
Yeah, if they can stay healthy, I think they got a good shot to go back to back for sure. You know?
But if you look at their team, I just had to, and when I say faith, just think about how they got to where they are and how they mature because of the injuries.
Right.
They find ways to win. Small basketball. Stefan, my nephew, had to play 4 and 5 position at a guard.
Yeah. Well, the big guy was out for a while, right?
And the big guy being, he was out. And then everybody else who, when they were out, the next man stepped up. So now, to me, as far as I'm concerned, they got a complete. They can beat you in so many different ways.
Right.
Then, of course, and I will say this, make sure before I close out, is I can't be too mad with Connecticut because, of course, Danny Hurley is the coach. That's a Seton Hall alumni. So we still got ties in with Connecticut.
You got ties.
So I don't feel bad if I put on a hat or something.
Don't worry, we won't say nothing. It's okay. You know, we won't rat you out. You know?
It's just between us.
There you go.
Well, hang out for a second. We'll catch up with you in a second as soon as we wrap this up. You've been listening and watching the Big East Rewind with Sonny Sparrow and Chuck Everson. Big East Rewind was produced and directed by Nick Chico Chorus and Daryl Gurney. Check us out on all things social media by putting Big East Rewind in the search bar. You know, subscribe, like us, and share it with your friends. And also, our new website is out, www.bigeastrewind.com. Go on there and subscribe and stay up to date on all things in the Big East Conference. Thanks a lot for joining us. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you, man. Thanks, Alec. Appreciate it.